Well, hello. Welcome to my cold ass garage in the beginnings of winter. Um, let's fix my mother-in-law's computer and talk a little bit about doing IT work for family and what that could lead to. So I'm here today with my mother's Latitude 5520. I just bought her. You might recall I did a video, I'll try to link it over here, of going to IU surplus store. Well, this laptop is from that and it's dead, of course, right? So I'm going to set you all over here while I do some work on this bad boy. Let me move this chair over out of the way because there's a reason why it's dead. So one of the reasons why it's dead is I bought this machine for my mother-in-law. And what you're seeing is a little bit of a mixed thing. I was out here earlier making sure stuff worked. We're going to undo some of that work so I can properly transfer the board over. My goal is to keep this video fairly concise, but I tried to record this 2-3 months ago, and honestly, I just didn't do a good job. So let's take my 8 gig DIMM out. We'll leave her with her 16 gig DIMM. One RAM chip's good enough for her. I could take it out, but I'm not going to bother. So we're going to reject that. We're going to grab this cable. So effectively, this laptop stopped working a couple months ago. Couldn't figure out why. Again, I tried to diagnose it, and like I said, I even tried to... come on, bro. What the fuck am I caught on? Is it just caught? Oh, okay, it's just caught that much on the hinge. So I'm going to set this over here. Because I'm going to reattach this display to the palm rest because that is the right thing to do. Anyway, I got a notification from my mother-in-law that the machine wasn't booting. Now, initially, it was because the... there we go. Initially, it was due to semi-obvious reasons. The motherboard was out of power. Is the best way I can describe that to you. What does that mean? Well, she'd run her battery flat, and so that was my initial understanding, was that she had just run herself out of juice, and all I needed to do was to charge the laptop back up, and then all would be good. And I was wrong. So my original video was, I think, like a 2-hour rant of me working on both my sister-in-law's machine and this machine, where this machine was dead on a doornail. I wasn't the kindest to my mother-in-law about some of the things around this machine. So I decided to do a double take. I didn't like the take. If I decide to keep some of the sister's take, then I will do that. But for the most part, I was not thrilled with how that came out. And I do apologize for the lighting. I don't have a great setup here, but I don't know how to deal with it yet. This is still in general chaos, but I'm working on it. So what we got to do with this machine is I need to take this motherboard out of this chassis, take that motherboard and put it in this chassis. That's because that palm rest is fucked. I got that as a parts machine for about $60. I got the palm, basically the upper palm rest, motherboard and whatnot. It all works. Basically the same spec as before. So what I need to do is pop her RAM out. And I did the smart thing before. I popped all of her stuff out and put it in here. I will use the CMOS that comes with, and I will part back together the machine that ends up coming out of this, whatever ends up being good. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to move battery over there. I'm going to get this HP out of here. This is my 17-inch HP Envy that just going to go in the junk pile for now. I'll deal with it later. And we're going to push that back. Now, admittedly, I don't know how to film this. I don't have a great camera set up. It's something we're going to work on going forward. But effectively, I need to take two machines and make one. And then what's left of the machines, I will half assemble back together to see if I can cobble something together. This board is dead, so I'm not too worried about it. I think what I can get away with is I don't have any thermal paste out here. I'll have to go get some when we get that far. But I think I can even do this without taking the cooler off. We're going to find out. So let's get started. But yes, when you sign up to do IT support, do be aware what you are signing up for. With my mother-in-law as an example, I did some work for her on her old machine, which I guess somehow makes me capable of this one. Let's see, I got to do this one too. And that led me to getting to do more work. So what you find out with a lot of family, once they find out you are technically savvy,
you are D-O-N-E fucked.
They will then turn around and, well, make you do work for them. It is not ideal. Put that reinforcement there. Let's see, scour. The mid frame here is basically going to, it doesn't have to totally come out. It just has to come out enough for the board to come out. So now I'm just hunting for screws. And I'm going to do this with removing as few things as possible, because I'm lazy as fuck like that. I don't actually know what the fewest number of screws is. But effectively, what has happened is because I've done some little work for them, they now know, oh, you're technically savvy. So, you know, we should have you do work for us. And then you get, you know, squirreled into a bunch of different things. Okay, so there is a heatsink screw here. So this does actually require less screws than I thought. Come on now. Oh, come on.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
There is a mid-frame connection here, which I believe goes into here. So that could be problematic. For now, I'm just going to take it on this side. That is going to be fun later. Let's just do that. Okay, we've got another one here. Okay. So that's the old motherboard out. I'm sure this board is dead. Almost positively. But we will, to some degree, hook it back up, and deal with it there. I'm going to set this board down. So now I need to move this out of the way. Now, the good top case and monitor are getting this board. This should be interesting. So yeah, I took a lot more out to get this far. Okay, good to know. I will do a thermal test. It's re-thermal paste these guys after the fact. So for me, the important thing is getting the board in here. Now this is enough. I know I've got, you know, an 10A hanging out here, but this is enough to power test this machine. So let's do that. And I shouldn't need anything but a power cord. I saw a light for a second. So I think this is what happened before, where it doesn't want to turn on. Let me set you down for a minute. And so what we do here is I've got a USB-C. Sometimes this thing doesn't want to turn on with a battery not connected. So power, there's a light. Open the lid up. So what I want to see is a working display, and I want to get to the BIOS. It takes a minute. Got to do memory training, you remember. For whatever reason, at BIOS reset, it just gets really unhappy. There we go. There you go. There's the latitude. We are the same 11th Gen i5 as before. Unfortunately, I could not find an upgrade board, but that is working. We have working backlight. I think you have to do function. Yeah. And I have a working trackpad, so cool. So I'm going to get set back up to reassemble this bad boy. And there we are. She's alive again. Alive, and wow. Let's go ahead and pop up Task Manager. There's our Core i5 11. What is that? 1135G7. 16 gigs of RAM or 256 gig SSD. She didn't need a lot of space. I have bigger drives if she needs them. Our Wi-Fi 6 and our Intel Xe graphics. So I'm going to kick the tires on this thing for a while, but for you guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. I'm going to set you guys over here while I monkey my way out on the final thoughts. So I'm thrilled that this thing's working and it's happy. Looks like the battery held a charge. It's at 85%. Hardware monitor working. 54C. Does her software still work? Yep, key's not in here. That much makes sense. And yep, the software still opens. We're under some light load. We're not doing too bad. Let's go ahead and pull up Windows Update. So that's probably the biggest thing. Yeah, we're getting up. We're getting there. But yeah, this thing was to sort of concatenate her machine catalog. It was so she could have one machine to do pretty much everything on. Her Chromebook was kind of failing, wasn't hanging on too well, and I thought for $300, this was probably the best thing that she could buy that wasn't a Chromebook. And that has its upsides and downsides. Yes, it is Windows. I know I'm a pretty heavy Linux guy on this channel, but I have to be real with you. There are just some things in this world that Windows are required for. In her case, she runs a proprietary Husqvarna, and that Husqvarna is something she can't get around. So she needs the software, needs it to work, and that's just that. So I'm gonna let this charge, update. I'll go in and get some cleaning supplies and whatnot, and I think that's where I'm gonna call it here. I think my last thoughts on the subject definitely. Hold on. Definitely. If you're going to do IT support for your family, okay, just keep in mind that you're going to be into stuff like this where you're going to be supporting computers. You might even have to buy them computers and support that. So it's one of those things I'm still working out, trying to get all this taken care of. I know I've got several people I know who are still running Windows 10. Yeah, that's its own thing. And one of them I might convert to Linux. I don't know. He just wants Chrome to watch YouTube and do his Google Sheets. And he can do that on Linux. But he also has some composition software that might be a little complicated. So just kind of is what it is. I may have to put him on like LTSC or something, or bypass the Windows requirements and just hope Microsoft doesn't brick his computer. I don't know. Or bite the bullet and tell him to buy a computer because they can afford it. If we get down that road, maybe we'll find a cheap mini PC or something, something simple for him to deal with. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm hoping that this wasn't too negative. I know my first take was pretty bad a few months ago, but it's not all doom and gloom. I know for a fact that the sister's laptop, which I didn't even talk about in this video, was very straightforward. She wrote us like a week ahead of time saying, hey, can you look at my laptop? The charging port's not working and it won't turn on now. And then she gave it to me. If I've got some footage, I'll show it. I ended up being able to buy a charging port for like $7 and then a new charger for $18. So like $30 total. I fixed her computer and gave it back to her. And that was super easy. So sometimes I think it just depends on the person you do work for. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But I hope you people enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.